For my small business, I would have a jazz website or app that would facilitate booking gigs from combo groups and big bands, and it could help musicians because they could decide their own rates and my business would take a share of that. I would have this be my business because I love jazz and I play trombone, and I know there isn't a very organized system for booking gigs for like events. So I think it would be helpful additionally with musicians choosing their rates, and it would be more for their own like organization instead of just like me taking their money. The way I would structure my business would be as a limited liability company or an LLC. So some of the pros of this is that it's a structure which combines features of corporations and sole proprietorships and partnerships. And it has these members leading it, and these members get liability protection. And so if the company has debts or lawsuits against it, their assets are protected. And they have pass-through taxation, which is where the business itself gets taxed instead of the members who are leading it. And it has more flexibility in management. However, some of the cons of this includes it has a potential for higher taxes. Although it does have the pass-through taxes, it can get taxed higher depending on your business. And it would also have self-employment taxes, and it would be harder to attract investors into your business. And there would be more formation and maintenance costs associated with your business. But some of the benefits for my business specifically include the whole limited liability protection, because say somebody books a gig from a combo group and they don't show up. If they were to sue, I don't see why I should get in trouble because I'm not the one who did that. So it would be helpful for me to get protected rather than like getting punished for something that I didn't do. So I think that's why it would be very helpful for the case of my company. And it would also save my assets, like my trombone right there, from my potential business debts and lawsuits. However, some of the downsides are more fees in the beginning of my business, which can be pretty hard starting out, and it can get pretty complex with the lawsuits, which I kind of would be expecting more lawsuits with my kind of business. But some key points to the success of my business include there's not many apps or websites like this, so if you want to book a gig, you kind of have to search around social media for a band near you that would be willing to play for you, unless you hear of some band and contact them, but it's just not organized and it's not set in stone. So I think that's why mainly my business would be helpful. And it could attract musicians into like getting more stable jobs and finding like gigs to play for people, because I know it's pretty hard to do that sometimes. And it would be pretty useful for the people who are planning events like weddings and like events and graduations and stuff. And I think it would benefit the American economy because it would encourage these like jobs of performing like musicians, and it would help the gig economy too, which is pretty rough sometimes. And I think it would help to support the small businesses of the jazz musicians who run their own combo group and big band. And I think it's very important for these musicians to find jobs because it's really hard sometimes. And I think it would help to boost local economies related to the whole small businesses thing. And I think this is important to musicians, and it matters because it'd be an easy, organized way to get your music out there. It's not like too complex, it's pretty simple, and it's easy to find you. And it would connect you more to the professional aspects of being a musician, which is like getting out there and playing gigs. Like it's one thing to like play your instrument, but it's another to like do it professionally. And I think it would help out a lot in that regard because especially with younger musicians who you get hired if you have experience, but how do you get experience if you haven't been hired? So I think this would be a useful opportunity for them because as a musician myself, I understand how hard it can be starting out, and my hope is that through this business opportunity, I can help other artists and make live music more accessible.